In this video, we have a very special guest with us today. We got Michael Ebba in the house. We are talking all about Fantasmic, old school Fantasmic, new school Fantasmic. We are comparing. We're also going to, dip into Florida's Fantasmic. I'm sorry, George. And we're also going to talk maybe a little bit about Tokyo and all that. We're talking all Fantasmic today on this episode of OG 55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG 55. We have a very special show for you all today. We're talking all about Fantasmic. Anaheim, Florida, Tokyo, whatever it is, we're talking all about Fantasmic today. We have a very special guest, friend of the channel, Mr. Michael Ebba. You probably have seen him in the live chats in our videos. We love Michael Ebba, as Kaylee calls you, the Ebanator. Ebba,
Yes.
Welcome back. It is awesome, sir. Thank you for coming on the channel.
OG, thank you so much. George, thank you so much. It is an honor and pleasure to be here, guys. Talk about Fantasmic, one of my favorite shows ever. Let's get to it.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely.
We're gonna talk Fantasmic. This is Ebtastic.
Yeah.
Ebtastic. Let's rock and roll. Yeah. So, Michael, if you could just kind of remind everybody where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, Michael Ebba, and then on Twitter, or now X, at Michael Ebba 1991.
There you go. And I will be linking Ebba's socials in the description down below. So make sure you follow, subscribe to him. Awesome guy. Follow him. He is amazing. So, yeah, Ebba, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
We got the Italiano over here playing Fantasia in the background, dude. That is very, very appropriate. Mr. Italiano, if you could let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner, with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There you go. There you go. And Ebba, I do have a new mug, by the way. This is
Yes. Yes. I was going to ask about that because I was like, is that your new favorite mug now, man?
You know what I'm saying? For the audience, for those that don't have like Twitter, friend of the channel, Theme Park Casual. He was talking about like every time he gets a new mug, he has to use the new mug. I completely concur with Casual. Whenever I get a new mug, I always use the new mug. I don't care if I have 20 mugs, and I do have 20 mugs. I can pan the camera over. I have a lot of mugs, but every time I get a new one, I got to rock the new one. And this is my latest one, so I'm rocking it.
What you got? Coffee?
Yeah, a little coffee, a little caffeine,
Nice.
why not? Yeah. So, just chilling. But yeah, let's talk a little Fantasmic. So, Ebba, you provided a great video from LMG Vids, right? Yeah.
Yes.
LMG Vids, who actually has this great comparison of the old school Fantasmic with the new Fantasmic. We're going to kind of play this. Unfortunately, I can't play the music just because the copyright gods will strike us down. But we can play the visuals, and what we'll do is we'll kind of play the visuals, and there's a lot of visual stuff here that's different, so it kind of works out. But we'll play the video, and we'll kind of stop along the way. We'll talk about it, break it down, and we'll kind of go from there. Let me go ahead and bring it up. Yeah, let's do this. And this is from LMG Vids. Let me give him a little credit right here. These guys are great, by the way. LMG Vids.
Yeah.
Really cool
Huge
guys.
fan. Yeah, huge fans.
Yep, make sure you subscribe to LMG Vids, and yeah, let's go ahead and play this and kind of go. We'll break it down along the way. This is interesting stuff here. Okay, so on the left is the old school, on the right is the new school. Here we go.
All right, guys.
Here we go. So out the gate, we already see the projection mapping going crazy, right? On the right.
Yes, exactly, and all the lighting effects that they have.
Yes.
On the stage.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Michael? Like, what do you think about that addition so far? Like, do you like the fact that they're kind of adding all this, or does it kind of take away from like the mystery, the mystique?
So that's a great question, right? Because I actually like both intros, but the thing is, right, is so before the lights on the top, right, before those like go off, when he's walking like across the stage, he's making like this oh kind of sound, right? Like he's like mystified, right? Whereas in the one on the left, he just appears like magic, and then he sweeps his hand over the water, and then boom, right?
Right.
So use your imagination, sweep, and then goes, runs, and then water. Now, for the right side of the video, like the newer stuff, I do really like the mapping, like all the like the more lighting and how the stage looks really bright and colorful.
Yes.
And then like even if you look on the right side right now, right, there's a lot more color added compared to the left side already. So the stage is a lot more bright and more imagination.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I like what they did here with the giant water fountain in the rivers of America with the rainbow effect.
Yes,
Very,
yes.
yeah, very world of color. I dig that. That's awesome. Yeah, you can see that it's a pretty stark difference, right? On the left, it's kind of standard over there on the left. It's they got some show lighting on it, but nothing too crazy. The rainbow effect really adds a lot to it,
Well,
So
yeah, if you look to on the left, like see how dark. I know if you're in there person you can see, but see how kind of dark the left side is compared to the right.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's funny because I've been watching this show. I remember, but I'm an old dude, right? Like I remember watching this show like when it premiered in like 90, was it 92? I think it was.
1992, yeah.
Yeah, and like I was blown away by it. But then you see like these new additions to it, and I'm like, you know what? That kind of works a little better. Now, not all the new additions work better. We'll get into that for sure.
Yeah,
But in this case, I think it kind of does, right? I think it kind of
right.
makes sense. What do you think, George?
So for me, first off, can you guys hear and see me?
Oh,
Well,
yes, we can.
I can see you. You're a little low though. You might want to come a little forward.
Okay. No, because my internet's like not cooperating with me right now.
I can, yeah, you sound better now though.
Am I better? Okay. So so for me, I prefer like the newer type show as far as with the technology, the new special effects, the projecting mapping, all that jazz. I dig it. What I am not a fan of is the choreography. I do
That's
not
fair.
like I do not like the newer choreography in Fantasmic where Mickey is already on the stage. It's like it's not amping you up. It's not hyping you up. He's already there. He's just kind of dilly-dallying around and it's like and the choreography doesn't match the tone of the score. So when you get that do 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 boom do do, Mickey has to move with the choreography that matches the tone of the music. It doesn't happen with the newer one, and it drives me nuts. That's like one of my biggest complaints of the newer show. But as far as like the projection mapping, the technology, the new special effects, I love it. I just wish they would have kept the older choreography.
Yeah, that great point, George. And also another thing that I do have an issue with, and this is kind of like seen throughout the whole show, but I'll bring it up now. Mickey tends to inject himself when he doesn't have to. Like you hear a lot of like sound effects from Mickey, or like him, like oh no, haha, woo," the whole time. It's like you don't need to like remind us that Mickey is there. You know what I'm saying? We know he's there. He does a lot of that. So I see what you're saying, George.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and then real quick, real quick.
Yeah,
One of my two biggest complaints about like the newer version so far, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that throughout the entire show. But
yeah,
again, it's what George just talked about, and then the flow of the show of the new version, and it
yeah.
has to do with the music syncing with the characters and whatnot. But we'll get to that. But that's just like my biggest gripe with the newer version.
No, 100%. And the original version, I don't believe it was Steve Davison. This new version was Steve Davison. I love the guy. I think he did great things with a lot of the Disneyland shows or Disney Park shows. He's done a lot of great things. But one thing that I seem to see a pattern with Davison Productions is that, like what you were talking about, Michael, with the transitions and how it flows. He does seem to have an issue with that, where it seems very much like a clip show. Okay, here's a clip from this movie. Now we're going to go to a clip from this movie. Now we're going to do a clip from that movie. Where the original old school Fantasmic, it really flowed, man. Like everything was like just perfect, So that is I think a Steve Davison issue. Again, I'm not like downplaying the guy. Like he does great work, but that is one of his Achilles heels, I think. So yeah, we'll see. So yeah, it kind of goes on here. Yeah, again, the lighting here, the new lighting package is amazing. I mean, this is incredible.
Right, and then see like how the lights in the back they light up, and you get all these kind of swirly effects on the right side. I love that, and then you
Yeah.
got the little bubble Mickey that's going on there, and it's just really great. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, me too. That's dope. Really, really cool. Great effects here.
But
Um,
I know it's hard to see on the right side because there's so much water and stuff in the way. But the left side is like the way that Mickey's dancing is so on point with the music. It's beat
right,
for beat.
right. And you were saying that too, George, weren't you, with the choreography where like it was more on point with the old school Mickey than it was with the new? The
Yes. Yeah,
choreography
the
with the music?
choreography, the music, the timing, everything was spot on with the older Fantasmic. Where with the newer one, it's like you have the music, you have the choreography, but they're not synced together in harmony.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Right,
Yeah.
OG, could you go back a little bit with these when he's doing the sparkle things real quick?
Yeah, no worries.
Because I have something I want to point out in that regard. So
Sure.
play it for me, please. And I have an issue right here. The old one is great. See how he's controlling the star? The one on the right side, he he just kind of watches it go. So if you look on the left, it looks like he's controlling the star. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
the one on the right is just kind of doing that. I'm like, no, the original one was so much better because the water comes up and then he
Right, right. No, exactly, exactly. I see what you're saying there, where he controls it, and then on this one, he kind of watches it go by. Yeah, that.
yes.
Yeah, that. Yeah.
But
So
now
here, yeah, here looks pretty similar, and there's a lot more going on though visually with the animation and what have you.
yeah, and of course, in the new one, they add more of like the Fantasia, pieces in it.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm fine with that. I mean, that's cool. No worries there. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, so far, like if I was to like grade these two versions, I think the new one has like a little bit of an edge. I mean, there's pros and cons, but I do like I like the brooms being added and things like that. That's pretty dope. The
Right.
projections do add quite a bit.
So I do have a question for you guys, right? So for
Sure.
this part right here, right, with the singing, the woman singing, which version do you guys like more, the older one or the newer one? I
Uh,
personally like the older one better. She has more of a soother, feminine voice to it. The new one, she sounds too deep of a voice, in my opinion.
but completely agree with you. That old school like
Yeah.
version, it was so. I hate saying this word because it's so overused, but the way she sang it before was so magical. It felt so dreamlike. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
I just loved it. I mean, and now I don't know. It's not bad. It's just I don't know. It
No, yeah,
doesn't hit the same way.
yeah, no, it's not bad. I mean, I still watch it. I still love it, but the older version was superior in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. What do you think, George, in terms of that? I mean, we can't play it unfortunately, but the singing in your
Yeah.
imagination.
I prefer the older way. The old school OG kind of it was a very soft melody, and the way that the singer performed it, it was very majestic. That's the word I'm going to use.
Yes.
It was very
Majestic.
majestic.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Continue.
All right. Okay, and like already, I kind of personally have a problem with this already.
Yeah, all right, let's go for it. Yeah, and this is where I start having issues too with the new version. Absolutely, this is where it becomes very much a clip show, so to speak. Go ahead, Michael. What's your issue so far?
So my issue is like, okay, so, and this is gonna be for some other Phantasmas as well, but already it's like you said, it's a clip show, and this is something like right here is like you can throw this something into like World of Color, like type of a World of Color show, right? And already you can see the left side, you're already getting practical stage performers on there, right? And here's the thing, I love the Lion King, don't get me wrong, but and then you have the monkeys. We'll get into the monkeys as well. I'm not really a big fan of them in the new version. I do like the lighting on the right side because you get all like the kind of leaves and whatnot on it. But the dancing monkeys on the left side, I like how they're all the furry costume look, right? They all match. Whereas the one on the right side, and just not in like a offensive thing I'm trying to say, but the newer monkeys, they look like they like that
Barrel of
type.
monkeys.
Well, they're all monkeys, but they look like they like that specific type looks
Yeah,
like it comes from, like,
they're
Animal
like
Kingdom.
Barrel of Monkeys. That's what they remind me of. Like the game, the Barrel of Monkeys, where you kind of pick them up.
Yeah, and it's just it's not that I hate them, but I don't think they fit in Fantasmic. I think they fit something like an Animal Kingdom, like a type of animal show or something. Because you look at King Louis, right? He looks like that, and then all the rest look like that.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very stylized. Let me go back a little bit. It's a very stylized kind of style. You're right, Eva. It's very much like an Animal Kingdom thing, and there's nothing wrong with it. But
No,
it's
not at
like
all.
it doesn't belong in this show, right? If you were
Right.
like you were saying, if you were to put this as a nighttime Animal Kingdom show, okay, now we're cooking, right?
Yeah.
Here it's a little weird. Yeah, the monkeys before I think were much more superior. Yeah, this is kind of strange. They're a little too stylized, absolutely.
And then George and OG, what do you guys think about the music segment for these portions? Because already the left side you're in like the elephants, right? And the left side you're having that hard dun, 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 and it leads up to the elephants. The right side it goes from like Lion King mixed with Jungle Book and whatever, right? Um, so what do you guys think about that?
Basically for me, the music flow for me in the original was perfect.
Yeah,
The
me
way it
too.
was.
I agree.
I just feel like it is just completely kind of miscombobulated when it comes to the music for the newer version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it lingers a little too long on some of these things, and then you have Mickey interjecting himself, hee ho ho hee, the whole time,
Yes.
and I'm like, I'm not digging that. The Pinocchio scene was pretty dope. I kind of see. Here's the other thing too: is like we lose a lot of these old school Disney animation films, right? Like
Yes.
now we're losing Pinocchio, right? And we got Lion King, and I have nothing against Lion King, but it's just I don't know. Like it'd be cool if we get something a little bit like that Walt era stuff, you know.
Right.
A lot of this new version is like the more modern films. You see Lion King right now. You're looking at Aladdin. You know, it's just a lot of modern stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean, here's like I don't have a problem with like modern stuff like in the Walt Disney World new version they have. It's just the way it's executed and implemented into the show that I'm not
Right.
a fan of. And like right here with the genie on the news section, I think you can totally cut that out and the show would be fine. And then you have Mickey appearing as Sorcerer Mickey. I have a huge problem with
Yes.
that because
Oh, thank you, Michael. Because I thought I was the only one that. Oh man, that like really like busts my choppers.
Uh oh. Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead, guys. Let's talk about this.
Okay,
George
so
falls to the
Michael,
wall.
balls to the wall. Let's go, bro.
Let's talk
So
about it. Let's talk about
my
it.
thing is with when I first saw that. I mean, quite frankly, that like really like almost like to the third degree pissed me off when they showed Mickey in his sorcerer outfit. That to me is for the grand finale. It's like it leads
Right.
up to the notion where when Mickey appears on the top of the mountain or the
The cabin.
cabin, that for the finale it's like, okay, boom, here he is, in his sorcerer's outfit. But then when they show him pre finale in his sorcerer's outfit, it kind of takes away that speaking of which, behind me, that that it takes away that gusto, that it's like that final like moment where it's like, okay, the whole show is summing up now. We've seen Mickey, in his kind of peasantry outfits, and then it's like after he defeated the villains, now he like reigns supreme. He's in his sorcerer's
Yeah.
outfit.
It's that
So
moment.
yeah,
That
so when
dun
they
dun dun
showed
dun
that,
dun.
yeah, so when they show that pre finale where he's there for a friend like me, I'm like, no. I'm like, really? They really did that?
Yeah, that really bothered me because like so for one the scene itself, genie again, that feels just like a World of Color scene you can throw in there. Like I do, I mean, again, I like Fantasmic, right? But you can do without this scene. And the two Sorts of Mickey being there, I'm like, no, because for me, Sorts of Mickey, that's when he's at his most powerful. And the grand finale, he's doing his grand magical Mickey things. And then you see him here, like in the middle on the stage at the bottom, and I'm like, okay, well, why? So
Yeah.
like, come on, guys.
And then
Yeah. No.
sort of kind of how OG said, like how they show Mickey here, it was kind of like in the format of how the Pinocchio was in the original. So it's like
Yeah,
kind of like as that marionette puppet. So it's like, why couldn't they just keep Pinocchio? You know, why did they have to turn Mickey into like a marionette puppet? It's like a little bit of a knockoff for me.
A little bit. And one of the issues too, and you know, nothing against Friend Like Me as a song. I think it's great for
Right.
the movie. I think it's a great song overall. But the thing is that I think that Disney Entertainment utilizes that song in particular way too often.
Yeah.
It's in every show. It seems like it's in every parade or whatever. It just seems like it's overutilized. So to throw it into here, it's like, come on, do we need another rendition of Friend Like Me? I think it's overplayed. I really do. You know, yeah, I agree with you, Michael. I think they could have done without this part completely. And it seems like it goes on forever too. That's the thing.
Right. Because if you look at the 2015 one, they're already going to the pirate section, almost.
Yeah. Exactly. You know, and here we're still messing around with Friend Like Me. So yeah, and then
Okay.
Mermaid. I'm cool with Mermaid. I mean, Mermaid is Howard Ashman, so I'm like, you know what? I love Mermaid. I know Aladdin was too, but Mermaid is just hits different.
I have a gripe with this section, guys. If you don't mind me.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Absolutely.
So I don't have anything wrong with Mermaid or what is this Finding Nemo in this section or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's like Mermaid. It kind of goes into Nemo. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I see what they're doing because they're doing like the whole like ocean and water thing, right? But I feel that also just takes up a lot of time and it's just there. Like, what's the purpose of these two scenes? Personally, that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, we're just kind of it's a very for the original Fantasmic, it's beat for beat. You know, the flow is really nice. This I feel kind of slows the show down.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, I feel like it makes sense on paper, right? Like, okay, so it's an oceanic scene, so we're gonna have Mermaid and we're gonna have Nemo. That makes sense. Okay, on paper that sounds fantastic.
Right.
But like you're right, Michael. Like, but for a story, the old version cut to the chase.
Mm-hmm.
You get right in there with Sorcerer Mickey with the whirlpool and the whole thing. With this one, it's like you kind of dick around a little bit with the whole like, okay, we're gonna have Merman, we're gonna have the Nemo.
Is it just me? Is it just me? But when they need Mickey, they don't have him, and when they don't need him, that's where they have him.
Right? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like they're inserting. This is the issue too. I feel like when it comes to the new version, they're kind of inserting. I feel like they're sort of like, okay, so like the you know, like the executives or whoever, the powers that be are like, well, we need to have these IP in there somewhere. So you got to put them in there somewhere, right? So they all need this amount of screen time. You know, that's what it feels like. Instead of like, you know, kind of like servicing the story, it's more about, well, you know, if we're gonna have an ocean scene, we're gonna need Little Mermaid. That's a top merch seller, and we're gonna need Nemo. That's another merch seller. Put those in there. You know, it just feels like what you were saying, Michael, where it's like it's a distraction. It kind of takes you away. It doesn't have to be that long. The old one was really good. The original Fantasmic was really good. It was very concise. So you felt like you weren't in any scene too long. You always felt like it was move.
Yeah,
move.
exactly. Yes.
Right?
That's how I feel. And this one here, there's a couple of scenes that just drag on, and I'm like, okay, this is nice, but is there really a point to this what we're watching right now?
Exactly. So now we're getting into Pinocchio. But see, you're right. The old one is already to the pirate set. I mean, Peter Pan.
And thank God that is coming back, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank God. Absolutely. Yes. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Yep. Okay, so like for the whole, like, you know, because they changed it over, like obviously pirates. My issue with that, a lot of people have an issue because it's you know, live action. Okay. Mm-hmm. My issue isn't so much that it's live action. My issue is that it's the only live action. So if they were to sprinkle in other live action in with this show, like if they were to have, I don't know, like, you know, Swiss Family Robinson in there later on or whatever, like it would feel like it would like work better. But the problem is that you have an entire show, like the whole show is animation, but that one piece, like that one scene is live action. That's what makes it stick out like a sore thumb. Like if they would have sprinkled in some other live action, I think we would have been good. Because Mickey's imagination, Mickey is the face of the entire company. So it kind of makes sense that he would incorporate some stuff that would be live action, whether it be Pirates, whether it be Swiss Family Robinson, whether it be maybe a scene from Pollyanna or whatever. It makes sense. But when you have just one scene in there and that's the only one that you have, it sticks out like a sore thumb. What are your
Now,
thoughts on that?
now for me, I don't really have too much of a problem of that, and I think the reason why is because I play Kingdom Hearts, so they do incorporate the Pirates of the Caribbean mixed with the animated characters.
Right.
So I don't really have too much of a problem with that. As far as the scene goes, it was okay. I'm not saying that it's a bad notion, but I think after having it for so long, and that's the only thing that you get, I think it would have been kind of cool to kind of rotate them a little bit, maybe kind of, change it up a bit because you don't really know which one you're going to get. But my gosh, and forgive me for the person who is the voiceover in this scene, but the woman's voice is so freaking cringy. It literally makes me want to get on the ship and throw her overboard myself. Like it just like I mean it was like I can't stand the voiceover work for that. It was obnoxious to me.
What are your thoughts on that, Eva? What are your thoughts on like this whole thing, like the pirates, Peter Pan, live action, the voice?
Right. So, so I agree with you guys. So here's the thing, right? When they first announced they were taking out Peter Pan for pirates, I'm be honest, I was pissed. I was like, what the, like Peter Pan is amazing, right? I love Peter Pan. Um, because when they added pirates in, right? This is during like the whole Pirates of the Caribbean craze. They were adding pirates into everything at the parks.
Yeah.
So, but the actual set piece, like the segment of the show itself, um I think I like it, right? I like the like how the ship looks like the ghost, like the Black Pearl, right? I
Yeah.
really love the first movie.
It would
I
have been phenomenal if they could have done something like that with World of Color. Like the World of Color scene where they had the pirates with all the
Yeah,
Pyro and the Pyro. That would have been really cool.
no, exactly. So my issue is, Jack Sparrow, my compass, and then you have Elizabeth like Jack screaming Jack the entire time, which is very annoying, right? But everything else, right? Because if you watch the pirate section, it's almost like it's just Peter Pan, like the way that the pirates fight and whatnot, and the stunts. What I also did not like either was before before the ship arrives, right? You see what's his name?
Barbosa.
Barbosa, yeah, sorry. But you see Barbosa in like the mist screen, and then you have the top of the ship. You see Jack up there, right? That really ruins the surprise of when the cannon fires because in the Peter Pan segment, it's black, pitch black, and it's like dun 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 dun, boom, fire, right? This he talks, and then like he turns into the skull like skeleton. And then you see Jack on the top with the little light, and then the cannon fires. So to me, it kind of ruins the surprise of the ship coming in.
That's a great point. Yeah, and that was one of the great scenes in that whole thing was where, like, it was so like orchestrated perfectly, where it was black, like you said, Eva. It was black, and then boom, the cannon
Yeah.
wakes you up to it, and then you see it. That was a huge. That was like kind of like almost like the point of it. Like
Right.
it created that energy. Where now you're right. It's all the stuff going on, and then the cannon. It doesn't hit the same way.
And I know we'll talk about the Florida version in a little bit, but just
Oh yeah,
because,
well,
but
we'll get into that one, George.
but just for the sake of the conversation, that is the one thing that I did miss from the Pocahontas scene was like when because I knew about it because I've seen it how many times, but like for the normies that have not seen it yet, where you
Yeah.
get that dun 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 dun, hey, what's going on? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then it shows the ship and then the cannon, boom,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
I loved it.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but I will say though, what also I love about the new pirate section is I love the constant cannon blasting that they have. Right in the Peter Pan segment, you only get that one time, and then you got the pirates are shooting their guns and stuff, which I like. But I love the loud boom, boom, that they're
Yeah.
firing throughout the segment. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and also I do love the fact that you have a pirate scene right across from Pirates of the Caribbean. There's something like kind of like that energy there, like right across from the attraction, and this pirate stuff is happening right in front of it. I think that's pretty dope. I actually really like
Yeah.
that a lot. So,
No,
but
no, oh, sorry.
yeah, but you'll see here like the 2017 version is way behind because it's like they're inserting all this other stuff in there, and like you're not even to the boat yet.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And So like he's like, he's still talking, eating his apple, right? And then the 2015 one, you're pretty much done. And look, see how on the 2017 you can see him already, and then the cannon fires. It ruins the surprise of the ship coming in. So I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, come on. I don't know, but I do agree, OG, that when Pirates was first announced to take over Peter Pan, like you said, I was like, why? Like, why this live action? Everything else is from animated features in Fantasmic.
Right.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And then you have this one live action,
yeah,
sticking out like a sore thumb. It's like if you would have sprinkled in some other live action, it would have felt a little more natural. But you just have that one thing. Now, I want to ask you guys: do you think, because we're bringing Peter Pan back, which is fantastic news? We heard that a few
Yep.
months ago. Do you think we're getting the croc back? What do you think, George? Do you think we're getting that crocodile back?
We better. We better.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, or they're getting a letter from me.
Letter. George is gonna go full Cameron on him, like.
I know it. They better.
Yeah, I really hope they do. I hope that when they bring Peter Pan back, we get the entirety of that scene, because it was such an iconic, classic moment in the Disneyland version of Fantasmic. So I hope that, I mean, if they want to tweak some things, maybe add some special effects, maybe to kind of showcase like Tinkerbell sprinkling her pixie dust and turning the whole ship gold, or what have you. You know, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, like, keep the same kind of choreography, keep the same kind of flowing of the storyline, and then of course TikTok Croc.
Well, that's a great idea, actually, George. Like, because now we have technology where you can do that, right? Like, so you have that projection mapping where you can actually project pixie dust onto this ship and make it look like she's, sprinkling it over the ship. I think that would be a pretty cool effect. I think that would add a lot to that Peter Pan segment. I hope they do stuff like that, where it's like they're enhancing what was already there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have what you have the basics, which would be the ship, Peter Pan, Captain Hook, and all that good stuff. You have the crocodile, great. But then you can add what the new stuff that you have in your arsenal, in your toolbox, with like the projection mapping, and create that pixie dust on the ship with the projection mapping. I think that would be a really cool little touch to it,
So I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think
Sure.
with Peter Pan coming back, do you think we'll get the same like soundtrack like bit of that portion of the scene for Peter Pan?
Oh, that's interesting.
Now that might be a little bit iffy, because they might have to have it where it ties into the newer kind of vibe that's with the newer one. That's
What do you mean?
Like the newer, like up to date with the soundtrack and stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant with the new Peter Pan and Wendy thing on Disney Plus. I'm
Oh
like, I think...
God! They better. Oh man!
I was like, George,
not.
that thing. I don't think that did very well. I don't think they're going to tie anything to that.
They better not.
Yeah. No, but you're right though. They do have to tie it in though, like musically with it. Yeah. I hope. Hopefully, it's very close though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can cut. That's the thing too. And Michael, you brought this up, but it bears repeating. They can trim the fat on this new version. There's a lot of stuff that's extra that you really don't need.
I agree 100%, man.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. I gotta say though, on this princess thing that you see on the left, we're still waiting for it on 2017 because they just, it's like, oh man, here we go. But I get chills every time, man, because number one, Beauty and the Beast is an amazing movie. It's like my favorite animated movie they ever did. Even the Walt era stuff, I don't think a lot of it, the Walt stuff doesn't even come close to Beauty and the Beast. But then you got Snow White, and it always blows my mind, right? You have a movie from, was it 1937? This is Walt's baby. This is his passion project, first animated movie. And now we're in like the 2000s, and we're seeing his character out there like that. It just blows my mind. Like all these years later, it's just such a trip to me, dude. I just absolutely love that. I absolutely love that.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I've seen so many different renditions.
You're wrong, George. You're wrong.
Fantastic, but was there a time, or is there a version that Snow White gets replaced by Rapunzel?
Yes. So that was actually one of my complaints. So okay, I'm in the minority of this, guys.
I will say this. I love how Michael has notes, man. He's like, yeah, that's actually one of my complaints. Here we go. I love it.
Like,
I love it.
okay, I got thoughts, man. So G, I know that you said right that you really like Rapunzel and the movie and whatnot. And George, do you
I
like that
do.
movie?
Yeah,
Tangled?
Yeah,
I do enjoy Tangled.
great
Yes.
movie. Yeah.
So I'm going to be the minority here and say I did not care for the movie at all. I'm not really a fan of the characters in particular. So yes, I don't know if it was Snow White, but one of the rafts was replaced with Rapunzel. And I was like, okay, it's not something that pulls me out of the show, but I'm like, I love the princess scene with the three kind of classic princesses, right?
Yeah.
You have Beauty and the Beast, Snow White and Prince, and Ariel and Eric, right? I was like, that's
Right.
perfect. And like here's the I'm not like I hate to sound like this because I sound like someone who doesn't want no change at all, but I just thought those three couples of prince and princess were like perfect on that.
No, you're right. I mean, I couldn't have picked a better trio, to be honest with you. Like I am such like an animation snob. It's not even funny. Like I absolutely love all three of those movies for like different reasons, but equally. Like Snow White was the first animated movie. Like it absolutely deserves a spot on that segment,
Right.
right? And then you
Mhm.
have Little Mermaid, which essentially saved animation for Disney back in the
Mhm.
late 80s. And not only saved animation, but it was like Howard Ashman's baby, which I love Howard Ashman. And then it really saved the company too, because through that you really got it kind of sparked the Renaissance era of animation, right? So Little Mermaid's a very important movie for the Walt Disney Company overall.
Yeah.
And then you have Beauty and the Beast, which is like like such a like the crown jewel of the studio. It was the first animated movie nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. I mean, it's a gorgeous piece of work. So it's like these three movies that they picked, these three things that were like so like I agree with you, Michael. They were perfect. Like you have these three things that they belong there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now you're
Yeah.
putting Tangled. And I love Tangled, but it's just like
Yeah, it doesn't fit in with that moment. I love Tangled. I love Rapunzel.
yeah.
It just all these characters in movies have a rightful place, and unfortunately, Rapunzel and Flynn did not have a spot there, in my opinion, for the princess scene. Plus, it was Snow White that she replaced, and I loved how they saved Snow White for last because it kind of it began the process to then bring the evil queen out, for which right here on the left side, which I have a huge oh
Oh, George,
ah
George, man, I'm with you on this one, man. I do not understand the logic on this.
no I this like really like blew me for a fundamental loop because first of all, again, showcasing Mickey again, where having a conversation. I know we didn't get to that part yet, but because the newer version is like 10 paces behind the original, it's like, but it's I don't want to see Mickey having a conversation with the magic mirror, and then him getting trapped, and then boom, there's the old hag. I love watching the queen come out for her evil scheme to kind of take effect. She's starting to
Yes.
plot. She's starting to
Yep.
plan. She gets angry. She gets pissed off, that with Mickey's imagination, she's like, nope, I can't have this. So it's like, I got to summon the other villains. I'm transforming myself into the old crone. I, this for me, this scene was so much better than what we have
Yes.
now.
I agree. It felt more like she was coming in, inserting herself, and interrupting what was happening.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. And also, OG, could you pause this right here, real quick,
Yeah, yeah, I got you.
please? Okay, so this is perfect. So I got what's that, George, man, you got it, dude. Another big crime in this scene too that they did in the new version, bro. Why you gonna put Source Mickey, on the top where he is supposed to be for the finale, dude? Like that should be reserved for the finale, not like in the middle of the show. And the queen, like I miss her transformation because right now
Yes.
she just appears, right? But I love the whole like the lightning effects and the green like fire and whatever that's coming out, right? She transforms.
Mhm.
It's awesome. And then you got this over here on 2017, right? You got this whole magic carpet theme with Aladdin and Jasmine. And I know, OG, you're an Aladdin hater, so go ahead and hate on this part. You know.
Yeah. I mean, come on. How do you not hate Aladdin? He's got the hottest girl. He's got a monkey, a flying carpet, a genie. The dude's got too much, man.
Right, exactly. So I'm looking at like if you're in person, right? Like I don't like this scene particular because it just very corny. Like Fantasmic does a very good job. Like Disney, they're really good at hiding like the behind the scenes stuff, right? Especially in person, you can see like the little pole or whatever that is holding
Like the
their
mechanical arm. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And they're trying to hide it with like all this mist and fog, like they're in the clouds and whatnot. But I just don't like it. I'm like, why is this here? We had the three princess floats. That's fine. Move on, guys. Like, let's get to the evil queen now. But then we have this whole theme that Mickey, like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why is Aladdin and Jasmine sitting on top of the Whomping Willow?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing where it's like, I feel like this was very much like, okay, so Steve, we have 13 IPs that we need you to add into the show. You know what I'm saying? You got to have screen time for all 13 IPs. These are big sellers for us. You know what I'm saying? And he's inserting these things, but it's like it doesn't service the show though. Like the great thing about the original Fantasmic, it was like it did its thing. They had the IP that it needed to have, and it was concise.
Yes.
This feels like it lingers and lingers and lingers, and you can see it when you really notice it when it's side by side with the old one. It's really, really noticeable. It's a shame, you know. Like here we are. You're already to the evil part on the old version, and the new version you're still doing a whole new world and the princess.
And not even just the transformation of the evil queen to us as the fans, as us as the guests, but just of how it's done production wise. It is done like it's like synchronized. It's like it has to be timed perfect.
Yeah.
And it's like when it's done like so well.
Right. No, 100%. And I love this. I'll never get sick of seeing Belle and the Beast on that raft. I mean, no matter new, old, whatever. Mermaid, love it, you know. And I love Tangled too. I just feel like replacing Snow White. This was Walt Disney's like obsession. Like he was so. This was this is the first animated movie. It deserves to be out there in this show.
Yes,
and
and
to
also
replace
too,
that.
and like also too, I really loved again the music, right? The same singer on the newer version. I just love the original singer on the older version a lot more on this part.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, here's my thing. If they wanted to still incorporate Rapunzel, I would have actually then just added her as the fourth princess going by on the float and take out the Aladdin sequence.
There you go.
Yeah, why not?
Exactly. Why not? Exactly. Because then you could have had the lanterns on the screens, in the mist screens. That would have been beautiful. Just add her to the equation. That would have been much better, George. I agree.
Right, and then also when you oh sorry, Yoji.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say because I do love her character. I do love that movie, but it's just like you don't knock Snow White off that pedestal. You know what I'm saying?
Because that way they could have had the Golden Age animation princess, the Renaissance animation princesses, because you can tie it into with Beauty and the Beast and the Little Mermaid, and the newer generation of princess, which would have been Rapunzel.
There you go. There you go. What do you think, Michael?
Oh, I was just gonna say, so like if you had a fourth like raft, right? Then you could have had 2 and 2 come out, like two on one side, 2 on the other, and they just both cross, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the even numbers, you can kind of like do that whole thing. Exactly. So now we're finally to the Magic Mirror portion on the 2017 version.
All right, so look at this. Mickey's on top. Like, no, dude, like that should be saved for the end. And already on the 2015 version, we're going to now Turnabog already.
Exactly. Exactly. You're right. You ruined that. First of all, you ruined the Sorcerer Mickey with having him in the costume earlier on in the show. Now you have him not only in the costume but in his finale spot, right?
Yeah.
And just and these little things, you know, the normies don't pick up on that stuff consciously, but the normies pick up on that subconsciously. It makes a difference when you watch this show, when you see those little subtleties like that. And not to say the new version doesn't have cool stuff. Like I think the visuals on the new version are very good, but I think from like a production standpoint, I think it's lacking. I think they don't the timing, the pacing, and all that is off.
Yes, I agree. And like here's the thing, like again, I'm
But
not like saying all this stuff because no, I don't like Fantasmic. I still love watching even the newer version. I love it. It's just these
yeah,
little things that I've noticed while watching the show throughout the years. I picked. I'm like, wait a minute,
Mhm.
no, that shouldn't be like that, or like that is off. It's just all these little things. I'm like, why they do this? So
yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. And you really, really, really notice it when it's side by side. It's crazy.
yeah, now I do like on the right side, right on 2017, we have those kind of ghostly effects on the cabin and stuff. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, but did you guys notice that? Man, the 2017 is so behind. So on the 2015 run, right? Okay, so starting here, OG is when. So this version is not like the original version, right? This is where they have the new Murphy dragon. A huge issue I have with the whole Maleficent scene in our newer version is, for one, when she uses her like staff to like throw that explosion at him. In the original version, you hear like this traveling effect in this, but in the new
Yeah,
version, you don't get that. It's very like the syncing of the sound effects and the music is very weird in that portion. And then already in the new version, she's like already going up by the time she's talking, right? Like the lift is taking her all the way up. Now I'm pretty sure that's probably because the Murphy Dragon is a big, huge thing that so they have to get her down quicker, probably. But a big issue, if you look already in the 2015, which will be the same for 2017, is if you're listening to the audio, her eyes appear before that really like deep dark piece of music happens. Where in the original version with the like the puppet head, it like her eyes wouldn't appear until dun da da dun da da dun 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 dun. In this, her eyes appear a lot sooner, and it kind of ruins the surprise effect, in my opinion.
yeah, no, 100%. I noticed that too. That's. I feel like the old school version had people that understood. Um, like I feel like they were like maybe movie people or some like they understood
Production. I
like
was just
these.
gonna say they knew
Yeah,
production. Like
right,
they
right.
knew timing. They knew how to synchronize everything.
Exactly. They had a Jay Shear on their team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
They
exactly.
or now I feel like, and that's one of the things with Disney, right? I feel like, and this is one of the things where it's like back in the day, like back in Walt's day, and I know Fantasmic is after Walt, but in general, back in Walt's day, he had his movie guys doing a lot of all the park stuff. And I think that was actually to a great benefit because you had like Mark Davis and those legends that understood film and storytelling, and they came in with that. Where now it's like you have like generations of like theme park people, right? They like a lot of the Imagineers never did anything with movies, so they're coming from a theme park background, and I think that is a detriment to the craft. I think that the movie background from the Nine Old Men or the people that were doing it originally, I think benefited the parks greatly. And I understand with Fantasmic it was after Walt, and I'm not including that. I'm saying in general, I think it improved the overall, like with Pirates of the Caribbean, for example. When you ride that ride, it's set up like a movie. You know what I'm saying? There's like these reveals and it's like a slow burn and the whole thing. You don't really get that in a lot of attractions nowadays because these people that are doing these attractions, whether it be Disney or Universal even, they don't understand movie making. They're not movie makers. They're theme park people. They've been theme park people. But that dragon is dope.
No, it is, but I will say like, so OG, I'm not sure if this is well, this might be connected together, but I remember you were talking about people going to the park so often and they see like all the flaws and whatnot, right? So I
Yeah.
remember when Murphy first came out, having problems after problems after problems, and I wasn't sure if that was just me. I'm like, I don't remember Fantasmic having this many issues before, and it wasn't just the dragon. It was like fountains not working, pyro not working. It was always like princesses missing from the floats. I was like, what is going on here? Like either I'm coming way more often than I used to when I was a kid, or there's like more stuff that's happening in the show than
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, no, it's possible. It could be a little bit of both, possibly. Like I noticed that too. Like when I was a kid, I would go. I mean, probably more often than some kid from like Ohio or something. But I would go like
Yeah.
once or twice a year, right? So when I would go these places, I didn't notice any issues at all. It was only once or twice a year. But when I got older and I got like an annual pass, I was going like regularly, like once a month. I started to see stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like weird because it kind of plays in on like with your mind because it's like am I seeing this stuff because I'm going more, or am I seeing this stuff because it's breaking more, right? And it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you, Michael. I don't really know either. Like sometimes I feel like, what, has it always been that way? And maybe I'm just coming too much, or maybe it's a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of both too. So it's crazy. Yeah. These scenes are nuts, man. I love Chernobog. I love the whole, like, the darkness of it. I love when Disney does that. I love when Disney isn't afraid to, like, go dark and scary,
Oh, I agree. And also, I'm with 100% with George. I want to see villains get killed, man. Like, death and destruction. That's what I want to see, George.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, when you see them, like, all, like, getting electrified and all that, and then you get that bang at the end, I was like, yeah, like, that's it. Like, I want to see them get defeated. I don't want to see them get, like, sucked into, like, a portal, and it's like, oh, no, get me out of here, please. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that shit.
Come on.
Right?
You know who would actually be really, really dope villain for this scene, though? Like, even though it would totally be crazy, and the fans would go nuts over this, like, like, not nuts in a good way, but fucking Palpatine, dude.
Everything is proceeding as I have foreseen.
Dude, that would be so dope. I'm sorry. I would love that.
So guys, so on the 2017, I do love, like, the kind of new graphic effects they have, like, on the water and whatnot. It's really cool. But I want to pause right here real quick, if we can.
Sure.
OG. So let's talk about the dragon, right? So we have Fantasmic coming up in May, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so my question is, what are they going to do with Maleficent? Because if they're saying this is Mickey versus Maleficent, okay, so if we're going to go by wording, is it Mickey versus Maleficent, or is there going to be a dragon variation of some kind, right? Because I'm like, how can you top a dragon? Like, a dragon is one of the most coolest things ever.
I think it's going to be more so just Maleficent. I think it's going to be the B mode, as if we still had the dragon, but the dragon just was malfunctioning. Because they also did that at Walt Disney World also, that if they couldn't time it right for the dragon to appear, or the dragon just wasn't working, or what have you, they would keep the performer of Maleficent out on the platform, and they would still just go through the motions. They would still have the same soundtrack and the dialogue and everything, but it would just be Maleficent as her and not as the dragon.
Yeah, I think they'll probably do something along those lines. They did tease new magic, so I'm thinking there will be some sort of new element to it. I think you're onto something though, George. I think it will be what you're saying, but I do think there will be some new added effects or something.
It's probably a couple. It's probably a couple more. Oh, ah, oh
no! Right, exactly.
Oh man, that's funny. But no, actually, for this part though, I'm, like, really kind of nervous about it, because this is, like, one of the huge parts of the show is the dragon. So I'm really nervous about how they're going to, do this section.
Yeah, unfortunately, like, we do know they are building a new dragon. We had friend of the channel on like a month or two ago, George, Marty Snyder.
So. Yeah.
And he was on that video. He was saying that he's heard from good sources, and I don't want to, like, put anybody out there because, like, but, like, it is solid that we are getting a new dragon. It's just it's not premiering in May though. Like, what we're getting in May is, like, the temporary thing until they can rebuild the dragon. We are getting the dragon back.
Okay.
But the big question mark is when and what is going to happen with the fire effect.
They're not going to do this, but I think it would be so funny. It would probably piss off fans because, and this is horrible of me, but, like, during the moment where we should be seeing the dragon, if they start playing the soundtrack from Pete's Dragon, where Mickey Rooney comes on, a dragon, I swear I saw a dragon.
You're such a troll, man. That would be hilarious. He comes out with the little wings.
That'd be great, man.
That'd be so good, dude. Oh, man. The fan base would be so mad.
Like, that was George, guys.
Yes. It'd be hilarious, dude. But dude, man, that dragon note. Look how the light behind it's so good. Oh my god, that
I
looks
know.
so good.
Dude, like the green, I love the green. Like it's because it's so Maleficent, you know.
Yeah,
It
the
is.
green and purple, like tie
Mhm.
it together, man. It's like
This
Oh, look at
shit's-
that.
Oh my god, dude. That is just insane, dude. I'm sorry, this shit's all over the Florida one, dude, with the dragon.
oh
It's like-
yeah, no. Our
Well,
oversized mechanical Muppet.
this is out of control, dude. This is Disneyland favoritism at its finest. Like the Imagineers. Like I always joke around on Twitter about this. Like, but they do favor California. Like,
Oh, yeah.
with Disneyland, with DCA, they don't give a shit. Like honestly, with Disneyland though, it's like always the best of the best. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
Yeah.
definitely. George, I want to ask you, what do you think? So in the 2017, what do you think about Mickey? You'll probably say no, but about him being a sorcerer outfit against.
Okay, actually, believe it or not, I was actually just going to ask you the same question. Here's the thing. Okay, try to go with me on this. So I'm going to try to see if I could say this where it makes sense. I don't necessarily have a problem with him being the sorcerer going against Maleficent, but rather than just have him appear right then and there in his sorcerer outfit, I would have had him do his own transition, sort of like how Maleficent went from herself as the fairy to the dragon. Then maybe where he grabs maybe the hat, and he goes to put on the hat, and then puff a smoke, and then he becomes the sorcerer. Like I think if they would have like amplified that, I would have been okay with it. But just having him just appear and then boom, he's the sorcerer. I it's still not to my taste. I still prefer like how it's the grand finale, the puff, in his sorcerer outfit.
Yeah, no, for sure. OG, how about you?
Yeah, no, I like George's idea actually. I like that idea of like him being normal Mickey, but then he puts on the sorcerer hat and boom, he turns into the sorcerer Mickey. I like that a lot actually.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
That'd be dope. If they could wing that. And I like how LMG Videos makes it clear like the old version has finished now.
It's done.
Done. And this one, we have a long way to go with this one. It's crazy.
Well, see, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Is that the new one has a lot of fluff you can just take out and you're good to go.
So we
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
remember in our minds when this comes back up online, when we see the Mark Twain come out with the characters, we just have to remember the older version would already be done. We'd all be walking away.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta say though, whether the old or the new, this part right here is pure Disney magic. I mean, when you're standing here and you hear the soundtrack, dude, and like the characters, it's just so good. It's like, oh my god, dude.
And I love how, and of course they could do it with Disneyland because they have it already there. I love how they incorporate the boats into the show. The Mark Twain, the Columbia ship. I love how they just intertwine them so seamlessly into the show where it's like you don't even really like pay attention to it, but you know it's there.
And that's why the Disneyland version is so special, and that's why that's why I'm so against like this like amphitheater thing, because it feels like the show is this organic thing. It's kind of erupting out of the theme park that you've enjoyed during the day. So Tom Sawyer's Island, Rivers of America, New Orleans Square, the Columbia, the Mark Twain, all this stuff comes alive. And these are attractions during the day. It just feels so crazy. It feels like something is really happening. Where you go to Hollywood and look, it's nice. You go there and you sit on the bench and they do the whole hype thing, and I love that. It just doesn't have that same magic though as erupting in the park. It's like a fireworks show. Like the fireworks are special because it happens in the park that you enjoy during the day. It feels magical. That's why this feels magical in the park. When you have an amphitheater and it's like you're going to watch Shamu or something, it just kind of kills the vibe a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, the cool thing too is like that if you also think about it from a children's perspective, right? Like when I was a kid, like I totally believed this was all like real, right? Because if you look at the setup for Fantasmic, I wouldn't think like a lot of normies would think, oh, that wasn't there before, or what have you. But I mean, if you go out, you can tell, okay, this is for Fantasmic or what have you, like on stage, right? Because they set stuff up, but they do it in a really way of like making it part of the environment. So it's more believable, right? And so as a kid, I'm like, how did they do that? Like, wow, like they're on the boats that are here during the day, they're on the stage, like how's all this happening? So I think from even like adult or like kids, it's a very like magical thing.
Yeah, no, they tapped it like with that era, that early '90s era, that Michael Eisner era. That was such a magical moment, a magical time for Disney. They were just on, all cylinders with the animated movies. They were doing great things in theme parks. They've yet to capture that magic, at least for Fantasmic, since we're on the topic of Fantasmic. They've yet to capture that magic, like even like in Tokyo, like as good as Oriental Land Company is and all that stuff, like I think Steve Davison actually was involved in that project as well. It doesn't even come close. I think they got rid of that version of Fantasmic. I don't even think it's around anymore. Yeah.
No, yeah, they got rid of it for something else, but I have a kind of a probably controversial opinion here. The reason why I don't think these other Fantasmics like can keep up to Disneyland's is because Disneyland's, in my opinion, is just so perfect. From like the characters to the original to the flow of the show, the syncing of the music and the stunt performers and dancing or what have you. Perfect.
You're right. No, it's perfection. When I was a kid, I was like, I think when that show premiered, I was like 12 or 13 years old. Funny story, actually. I was like in junior high at the time, I think, and I was in an art class, and my buddy Ryan, he was into like this stuff like I was. He was a nerd, and so we were like, dude, we should do because we were all into Fantasmic together, and I got bullied, what I'm saying? Like at school, what I'm saying? Because like, you're into this shit, man. It comes with the territory, what I'm saying? But like me and my buddy Ryan were like, okay, for art class, we should do like a Fantasmic presentation for the art class. So we use and Michael, you might be too young for this, but you remember those like projection for the classrooms? They put like a cellophane thing and they could project onto the wall.
Oh yeah, it has like that little thing, the light on top that projects down or whatever, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. So my buddy Ryan and I, we did this whole production for the art class. Like we would utilize that overhead projector for like scenes on the wall and the music dope. And the whole, it was really cool. And we did a whole like Fantasmic production for the art class. It was a lot of fun, man. But I was a huge Fantasmic fanboy back in the day. My sister was too. She's a little younger than me, but not much. But we would like in our room, like when we were kids, we'd have like the Mickey gloves and we would perform the show and stuff. And it was just
dude, yeah, it's like when I was a kid, I actually bought the Fantasmic CD, right? Back when they still sold soundtracks of the park. And I remember I would close like our living room like door, right? And I would tell my mom stay out, right? I'm like, I'm like 6, 7, 8, and then I have like the Mickey gloves and sorcerer hat, and then I'm acting the entire show for like all the performers on the show, going through like Mickey appearing to the Peter Pan segment,
nice.
Just great, dude.
Honestly, I did the same thing, and that's what kind of pisses me off with the newer one, because I trained myself to know that choreography.
Exactly.
And they just went and screwed it up, and it's like now I can't. It's like I'm not gonna. Can you picture an almost 34-year-old guy standing in his room in front of the mirror trying to recreate the new choreography for Fantasmic?
Well, and that's the thing. George is frustrated because he'd have the ladies come over. He knew the choreography. Now when the ladies come over, he doesn't know what to do.
Right? He's like, what?
It's like, what's going on?
They're going to be like, that's not it.
That's not the show. I'm leaving, man.
Right? Oh man,
it's crazy. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how they look. We talk a lot of trash on this channel about Josh D'Amaro, and rightfully so. There's a lot of issues with his leadership, but I will say, bringing Peter Pan back, that segment, I think was a great decision. I mean, fantastic decision. I can't wait to see how that pans out. Hopefully, we get this dragon thing sorted. And it's when the dragon appears eventually, it's impressive. I'm worried about the fire effects. Ebba, what do you think about that? We get the dragon back. Let's just say, right? We get the dragon back in like a year or two, whatever. You think we're still gonna get the fire effect though, or will it be some sort of like projection fire or something to like prevent another accident?
I mean, knowing Disney, they would probably do that. But honestly, bro, like, you can't beat real fire, dude, because it's not only just part of the show, but it's like you're so close to the island, you can feel the heat. It's on the water, right? You can't beat real fire, dude. Like there's no way around it. So I
You-
would want to see the
Do,
fire back.
do you think they'll
Yeah.
use real fire, but maybe not as intense, so to speak? Do you think like they'll tighten up that nozzle a little bit and have it just kind of come out just a little bit less engulf?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
probably because if you look at the still puppet version of what at Walt Disney World, when that dragon shoots the fire, it's not like a flamethrower. It's like a little fireball that
Right.
shoots
Right.
out,
And then it shoots and it hits like its target, and then
and then
they
it,
light the yeah.
That might be what they do. Something like that, where it's like a little fireball, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like a Mario, like the Bowser, like the little fireball.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly. But I do have a real. I know we're on Fantasmic. Just real quickly though about bringing back Peter Pan, right?
Yeah.
Daddy Josh. It's just is it just me, or I feel like Disney is like brings stuff back or does what the fans like when an incident happens to what they already have in the park, or am I just or am I wrong about that? Like,
What do you mean? I'm not following. Like they're bringing it back for what they already have. What do you mean by that?
so this is the classic example, Fantasmic, right? Dragon catches on fire, and then like, okay, well now we have to bring something back for the fans because fans could be worried that we're not bringing the dragon back because of the fire. So we're gonna bring back Peter Pan, right? Um, but I feel like there was something else. I feel like that Disney did with I can't think on top of my head right now. But I feel like that
Oh,
sometimes
I see what you mean, Michael. So you're saying is, say for instance, the dragon incident didn't happen.
right,
Phantasmic would still be going on.
exactly, yes,
Chances are would probably still be having the Pirates of the Caribbean sequence.
right, yes, exactly, and that's what I mean. Is like that. Would they have ever changed it in the first place?
That's interesting.
That's interesting. Probably not, dude. To be honest,
Yeah.
probably not. And there's a lot of that going on where it's like they know, like at least right now in the short term, they know they're not going to have a dragon. So it's like, oh, we gotta make up for that somehow. We gotta appease the fans somehow.
Right.
We'll give him Peter Pan. Absolutely, Michael. I think that's absolutely the case here. At least in the short term,
Yeah.
when they're having this kind of B mode, situation, it's like a little bit of here's the shiny object. Look over here.
Yeah.
Look at the Peter Pan. Don't look at the dragon.
Yeah.
Don't look at the dragon. No,
Right.
look at the Peter Pan.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. No,
It's like I'm
that's
telling you, tomorrow he wants everyone to just kiss his ass, but unfortunately, you'd have bronzer on your lips.
Bronzer, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want that, dude. You don't want that. Yeah. Hey, look, you know what? It's like with him, it's like I think a lot of people with Daddy Josh kind of got mesmerized. They got the googly eyes because he's a good looking guy. He's charisma. He got the charisma and stuff, which is great. I mean, that's fantastic. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. I'm sure I would love to have a beer with the guy.
Mhm.
But in terms of running the parks, though, I just haven't seen much from him that I'm impressed by. I just feel like he's sort of dropping the ball,
I think
commitments,
honestly
man.
he has literally I think one leg left. And honestly, and that leg is for D23. And if he lets that leg fall, not saying the company is going to, falter, but as far as his career goes with the company, I don't see how much longer, how much length of stamina he's going to have as the Disney experience
guy.
guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's. Hey, look, I don't want to say any definitive statements because I was on record on video saying there's no way Chapek will be CEO. And then here it happens, I mean, but I would be shocked though if he was, just because number one, we had a bad experience. Wall Street and Hollywood did not like Bob Chapek, and he was the parks guy. They see him as the parks guy. For Bob Iger to come in there and be like, yeah, we'll have another parks person. It's like I can't see him doing it.
Now, here's the thing: I can't either. But the one thing that Josh has that Chapek didn't is exactly what you just described:
Charisma.
the pretty face, the charisma, the people person, how to talk a room. That may not be too well with his decision making in the parks, but as a CEO, I don't know. The possibility, and people will say, well, if he's not making any decisions as chairman, how could he as a CEO? What decisions is Iger making right now? You
No,
know, so it's.
I think he would be a disaster. I don't know the way he runs the parks with this maybe coulda shoulda woulda stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
think
me
he'd be
personally, I
bad.
wouldn't want him, but I mean, like, I wonder if that's what's in Iger's mind.
I mean, can you imagine like the parks extrapolated
No,
over everything?
I don't want to imagine that. That's a nightmare.
Because you would have like Marvel going to Comic-Con with
Yeah.
like, oh, we could do this movie or we could do that.
We could do that. Yeah, that would be everything. Everything. Movies, television, music, theme parks, consumer products. It would all just be what a coulda, shoulda, maybe, possibly,
Yeah.
intended.
Well, that's
Might
what
be.
KK is right now. You know,
That's
always.
what-
Also said, that's what Kathleen Kennedy is right now, right? Oh, we're gonna have
yeah.
this this Star Wars movie from this person, and then poof, nothing.
Nothing. Exactly. She completely broke the trust with fans. Like she completely broke the trust with fans where it was like initially with Star Wars, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe that was announced, like in a good way. To like we kind of come full circle now where it's like, I don't believe that was announced. Like for example, like fans have become so jaded now with Star Wars where like the announcements, no one believes them. Where it's like, okay, fine, you're announcing that this director, this amazing person is going to direct this movie. Yeah, let's see if it happens, Kennedy. Let's see if it actually happens. Like no one believes it. And now Daddy Josh decided, hey, let's do that. Let's go that route. Like let's decide. Let's go with that route where like we do this maybe stuff and we break that trust with the fans on the park side. Like why he thought that was a good idea? Unbelievably frustrating. Unbelievably frustrating. No one believes a word that comes out of Kathleen Kennedy's mouth anymore.
No.
And honestly, I don't think anyone it does for tomorrow anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's followed that same route, and now now the parks are in the same position as Lucasfilm, and that's what's frustrating. You know, like there was a point in time when like the parks, when they would announce something, hey, look, as much as people hated Bob Chapek, when Bob Chapek announced something, it happened. When he said Spider-Man was coming to DCA, we got Spider-Man in DCA. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When he announced this stuff, it happened. Now, I get it. There were a few things that didn't happen because I think there was a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? So, like the Main Street Theater and things like that. I understand that. But for the most part, when Chapek was running the parks, when he announced stuff, it happened. With Daddy Josh, it's not the same thing. It's a lot of maybe. He's telling you up front, it might not happen. He's telling you right there, it might not happen.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Well, you know, I'd rather be told it's either it might not happen or it's not happening than, well, you know what, come with me on a journey, friends. You know, we can go through this mystical land of maybes and, you know, what have yous. You know, we might get this land possibly, but, you know, just wait and see.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you know what? The only maybe I like is our friend of the channel, Maybe. That's the only maybe I like. Maybe's awesome. That's the only maybe I like.
Oh, maybe.
'Cause I'm that girl that drive you crazy, but you're killing me alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe alone. Got you thinking maybe.
There we go. Shout out to Maybe. But Ebba, it was awesome having you on, brother. We will have you on a lot on this channel if you're down to come.
Oh, yes, sir. No. Thank you so much for having me on. It's an honor and privilege. It's been awesome talking Fantasmic with you guys. And hopefully we can talk some more stuff, nerdy stuff later on.
Yeah, no, 100%, brother. If you could remind everybody at home where they can find you on social media, sir.
So I'm on Instagram, Michael Ebba, and then Twitter, now X, at Michael Ebba 1991.
There he is. Follow this man. Link in the description down below. Mr. Italiano. We still haven't gotten through Fantasia, I see on your screen.
Yep, it's still going.
Still going. I saw some centurions with some titties. I don't know if we're gonna get censored by YouTube, but we'll see. That's the thing about Walt. He didn't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just like out there, whatever.
Just like let it be.
Yeah, exactly. But if you can let everybody at home know where they can find the Italiano on social media, sir.
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you'll find me here on my home base at Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. And I just have to say, at the time when this recording is released, I will already probably be in California and or Florida. I am going to be on both coasts at Disneyland and Walt Disney World. If you happen to see us, you happen to see me in Walt Disney World, I'll be joining our other brother and collaborator of the channel, Slimer, down at Walt Disney World. We're going to attend the final showing of the original Country Bear Jamboree and all that jazz. So if you want to if you do see us, come over. Don't be shy. Say hello. You know, I'm down to taking a selfie, signing a couple autographs. That's my thing. You know,
exactly. Exactly. Well, I can tell you this, George. I can tell you this. When this video is recorded, I mean, when this video is released, you will be in California. I can tell you that much.
Cool.
So you will be.
Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West.
You'll be in California, baby. So if you see this man at the resort, say hi to George.
Yes.
He's not shy. He won't, and he doesn't bite unless you want him to.
Exactly.
Thank you all so much for watching. Oh, Michael, I will let you decide how we're going to close this out. So we have a few drops here. I'll give you the menu. We have a Drunk Chewy. We have Carl's Jr. I don't know if you've ever seen the Carl's Jr. drop.
I have. Let's do that one. Carl's Jr., baby.
Look at that. The man knows what he wants, right? I love it. Thank you all so much for watching. OG55, Michael Ebba in the house. Here we go.